in high definition. This is News Channel 5, where the news comes first.
It's been more than 4 years since crime scene tape went up at this murder scene. Tonight, a victim's family has closure. Good evening. Tonight, a verdict in a St. Charles homicide case that remained unsolved for several years.
A jury found a St. Charles man guilty of shooting the manager at a storage facility back in 2004. News Channel 5's Ann Rubin has reaction from the victim's family and has tonight's top story.
Well, the prosecution called more than 70 witnesses over the course of the trial. The victim's family sat through it all, waiting and hoping for the verdict they heard tonight. Inside the courthouse, the jury deliberated for more than 5 hours on the fate of Eric Winfrey. Their verdict, guilty of robbery, guilty of murder.
And when they said those words, you couldn't help but just kind of melt. You know, I don't know how else to describe it. It was just like a relief. We heard something that we wanted to hear today.
The victim's family had waited a long time for this. It was June 2004 when the crime occurred inside this St. Charles Storage USA. The place was robbed. The manager, Chris Hannigan, shot once in the head. There was minimal evidence at the scene. The case appeared to have grown cold until August of 2007. That's when authorities say new witnesses came forward, pointing the finger at Winfrey, who happened to be incarcerated on a different charge.
I knew I would get this answer, the guilty answer. One day I just had to wait.
It's hard to even look at him, to even hear his name. It's disgusting to me.
Still, over the 4.5-day trial, Winfrey's lawyer argued he couldn't be linked to the scene.
Firstly, that there were no eyewitnesses, there were no videotape images of Eric Winfrey. We're disappointed by the verdict, but we will appeal.
For Chris Hannigan's family, the verdict addresses the question of guilt, but leaves others unanswered. They still want to know why.
If I could talk to him face to face, that would probably be one of the questions I would ask him, is why did you have to take my son, their brother?
And he was caught, and justice will be served. And that is the greatest thing somebody can wait for 4 years.
Again, Winfrey's attorney says he will appeal the verdict. Sentencing has been set for December 5th. Deanne.
All right, thank you, Ann. Kentucky authorities believe a man wanted for the abuse and neglect of his sister may be in St. Louis. A car belonging to Timothy Allen Brown was found in St. Louis earlier this month in the 6400 block of Bancroft. After running the plate, St. Louis police contacted Kentucky authorities but were unable to get a warrant to search the car. After the car was towed back to Kentucky, police there found the body of Penny Brown in the trunk. Police say the body was wrapped in blankets and plastic and had begun to mummify. Penny Brown, who was disabled, was checked out of a nursing home in 2006 and never seen or heard from again.
The campaign for Senator Barack Obama isn't talking about reports of a thwarted killing spree that targeted the presidential candidate. Federal authorities charged 2 men today on various weapons counts, as well as threatening a candidate for president. The men are described as neo-Nazi skinheads and were arrested last week. Tennessee authorities say the men had put together a plan that included shooting and decapitating black people, then driving toward Obama and shooting at him from the windows. The story has generated a lot of interest online. Join the conversation at KSDK.com. Both presidential candidates found themselves in Ohio today. For Obama, his campaign called today's event the closing argument for why he should be elected president. In a spirited speech in Canton, Ohio, Obama continued to tie John McCain to President Bush. And he argued that the reason McCain's campaign is so negative is because he doesn't want to focus on the economy, an issue Obama says Republicans can't win.
And now, after 21 months and 3 debates, Senator McCain still has not been able to tell the American people a single major thing he'd do differently from George Bush when it comes to the economy. Not one thing.
Meantime, in Dayton, McCain criticized his opponent and his economic plans. He used a 2001 radio interview to paint Obama as a man who wants to take your money and give it to someone else. He also told the crowd, polls aside, Obama shouldn't be too confident about next Tuesday.
Senator Obama's measuring the drapes, and he's planned his first address to the nation for before the election. You know, I guess I'm old-fashioned about these things. I prefer to let the voters weigh in before predicting the outcome.
McCain's running mate, Governor Sarah Palin, is making another stop in Missouri this week. The vice presidential candidate will be in Cape Girardeau on Thursday, Obama will make a stop that same day in Colombia. His running mate, Joe Biden, will make an appearance in Arnold.
Strong words tonight in University City. News Channel 5's Kay Quinn was there as the city council and about 60 residents questioned the head of the Metropolitan Sewer District about severe flooding back in September. Kay?
Deanne, the remnants of Hurricane Ike dropped so much rain on the St. Louis area September 14th. 2 University City residents were killed when they were swept away in the current. Homes and businesses in several communities were flooded. Tonight, the head of MSD told a packed city council meeting that poor maintenance did not cause the property damage. Residents accused the sewer district of changing its story.
Now they've just gone back and forth and flip-flopped all over the place.
Residents and some council members accused the sewer district of not maintaining its system and then refusing to help residents who didn't contact MSD within 30 days of the flooding. MSD's executive director told the packed council chambers that the flooding of September 14th was an event not seen in this area in decades. The sewer district said its insurance policy prevents it from extending the deadline for filing claims and that financial help for the cleanup should come from the federal government.
University City and the other communities that were affected by the flood really feel left out. We're at a loss, and the more time that passes, just in the same case as Hurricane Katrina and the instance in Galveston, people will begin to forget. You can't allow them to escape.
We're still waiting for that FEMA relief. MSD is not an assurance agency. We are not a disaster relief agency. We were not set up to handle events such as this. It's the state government, federal government. They have the capacity and resources to handle these types of situations.
Many residents expressed concern that MSD didn't do enough to notify residents of the deadline for filing a claim. MSD says the flooding was an unprecedented event and it took every measure to get the word out. Deanne and Mike.
Okay, thanks. A federal judge says parts of a new Missouri law restricting the behavior of convicted sex offenders on Halloween are unenforceable. The ruling follows a lawsuit by 4 registered sex offenders across the state. While the judge issued an injunction, the ACLU says offenders will still have to turn out porch lights Halloween night and post signs saying they don't have candy. The Attorney General's office plans to appeal the ruling.
DVD is creating major controversy with much of the Muslim population. It's called Obsession, Radical Islam's War Against the West. Today, members of the Islamic Foundation denounced the DVD, saying it is against the teachings of Islam and should not be viewed or endorsed.
We do not teach, Islam does not teach to go and kill Jews and Christians. This is against the teaching of Islam. They are all human beings and creation of our God, and they were friends and they were next door neighbors.
That DVD was first released in 2006, but recently resurfaced.
A 41-year-old Desert Storm veteran stepped in front of a speeding car this weekend. He lost his own life while apparently saving the lives of some children. Dean Nordmann was on a church-sponsored religious retreat. He lives in Iowa now, but helped build Timber Ridge Community Church, the church sponsoring the retreat. He was leading a group of teenagers along a rural road near Piedmont when a motorist drove towards the hikers. Nordmann stepped forward to warn the driver.
I think so, and I think he knew that too, because he was fully aware of the car and where it was and where the kids were. So even more so than I think he was that much quicker to respond, and he was right there. And I don't know that he knew what the outcome was going to be. Right. I have to believe that he was just putting himself in front of kids, and just was going to let what happened happen after that.
Nordmann leaves a wife and 2 boys. He'll be buried tomorrow at Jefferson Barracks Cemetery. The suspect in the car who left the scene of the accident faces criminal charges.
Missouri's Attorney General is the state's top prosecutor, and 2 men believe they have the qualifications and skills to be the next one. Tonight, as we continue our look at the issues and the races of this election year, News Channel 5's Cordell Whitlock profiles Democrat Chris Koster.
I took on insurance companies when they wanted special courtroom privileges that you and I would never get.
We caught up with Chris Koster after he debated his opponent, Mike Gibbons. Koster served 10 years as the prosecuting attorney for Cass County before he was elected to the state Senate in 2004.
The policy work of the last 4 years has been terrific and rewarding and I think important, but the Attorney General's office at a personal level does bring me back more into a standard law firm setting where I'm training young lawyers to be great trial attorneys and to bring forward the interests of the state.
In 2007, Koster left the Republican Party, saying it had become too right-wing to lead Missouri forward. If elected as a Democratic Attorney General, Koster says he has a clear agenda.
Priority number one is prosecuting Medicaid fraud. This is an enormous theft that is going on in the state of Missouri right now. There is as much as $600 million that is being stolen out of our state's health care system by unscrupulous Medicaid providers who are plugged into the state's Medicaid system.
Koster says he also wants to address workers' rights with respect to prevailing wage and illegal immigration violations. The St. Louis native says he will also work to improve relations between the AG's office and the governor.
No matter who is elected as the next governor of this state, if I am the next attorney general, I have good and long-standing working relationships with both Attorney General Nixon and Congressman Hulshoff. And this type of bitter back and forth for political ends is going to come to an end.
Cordell Whitlock, News Channel 5.
And tomorrow night we'll profile Koster's opponent, Mike Gibbons.
It's the outcome many feared.
But tonight, the family of actress Jennifer Hudson are mourning another death following a violent case of domestic abuse.
And St. Louis takes pride in its plan to end homelessness, but the nation's economy threatens to unravel everything. That story coming up next.
News Channel 5, first in high definition. This HD broadcast sponsored by Sotero Research. Call now about earning hundreds, even thousands of dollars in your spare time.
Chicago police say singer and actress Jennifer Hudson has identified the body of her 7-year-old nephew.
Julian King's body was found this morning in an abandoned SUV. The boy has been missing since Friday when Hudson's mother and brother were found shot to death in their home. Police say King had also been shot in the head. No one has been charged for the deaths, but authorities are questioning the estranged husband of Hudson's sister. With both costs and home foreclosures going up this quarter, cities across the country are seeing a surge in homelessness.
In many cases, the working poor are becoming the working homeless. St. Louis currently has one of the lowest rates of homelessness of any major city, but that could be changing. In tonight's cover story, News Channel 5's Zan Rubin takes a look at the problem and how the trend will affect St. Louis.
I haven't packed everything up yet.
Metanica Kirksey has a family and she has a job. What she doesn't have is a place to live. So she's taken her children, including a newborn, to the Gateway Homeless Shelter.
My landlord took the rent up or whatever, but I was working, but I just wasn't able to keep it.
She's not alone. In St. Louis, 15% of the homeless hold jobs, and homeless advocates fear that number is growing. Pamela Truelove is among them, currently living at the YWCA. She lost her job and recently got a part-time one. It's not quite enough to make ends meet.
I'm pretty sure that eventually I will become full-time, where I can make more money so I can pay my bills in comfort. I don't want to be struggling, from one paycheck to the next.
But for the working homeless, that struggle has become a way of life.
We have clients who are working 60 hours a week in minimum wage jobs. They can't sustain enough income to offset the exorbitant amount of housing costs that are out there.
The number of homeless in St. Louis has actually gone down recently, but experts worry with the troubled economy, there might be a spike in homelessness on the horizon.
You would just anticipate that we're going to see an increase in the numbers.
Other places already have. Tent cities for the homeless are springing up in Reno, and Boston's resources are so taxed they're putting people up in motels. St. Louis officials wonder whether will be next. They're looking for the signs and anticipating the next census.
In the meantime, we just try to hold our own. We hope we don't have to resort to tent cities like other cities have, and that we can continue to accommodate people as best we can with increasing numbers.
For now, they say, brace for the worst and hope existing programs can absorb the extra. In the long term, it's the economy and lack of affordable housing that need to change. Metanica Kirksey says she's one of the lucky ones. She just found out her Section 8 housing has been approved.
Actually, I'm supposed to be moving tomorrow into my own place.
And Pamela Truelove says that's her goal, too. She's even considering a second job if it means getting a home of her own.
I'm not too proud. I work at White Castle's, McDonald's, or Jack in the Box. It makes me no difference. I'm willing to do whatever it takes.
In St. Louis, Ann Rubin, News Channel 5 cover story.
Now, city officials say they'll get new census numbers for the homeless at the end of the year, but they say that often doesn't take into account those who are currently living out of their cars or staying with friends. It is going to be real cold out there tonight for everyone.
Yeah, including pets. Make sure you bring them in tonight, too. Temperatures have already dropped into the lower 40s, and we still have cloud cover. And the clouds have a tendency to keep things warmer, but those clouds are going to move out over the next few hours, and that allows the cold air to really slide in. High today was only 47 degrees. Take a look at the next 7 days. Tomorrow's high, well, starts to warm up a little bit. We start to get on the backside of a ridge of high pressure, so 50 degrees ought to do it. But our winds will again be out of the northwest, but not as gusty as they were today. The real turnaround starts on Wednesday. Back to the lower 60s, 70. Look at this by Thursday. Halloween day looks very nice. 68 degrees for a high, 64 on Saturday. And remember to set your clocks back 1 hour this Saturday night before you go to bed. We go back to standard time and you get to sleep in for another hour. And this little black woolly worm would indicate, according to legend, that this winter is going to be pretty rough here in the St. Louis area. Temperatures did seem like winter today, didn't they? And now we've got that freeze warning in effect from 1 a.m. to 9 a.m. It covers the entire News Channel 5 viewing area, so if you can hear me and see me, you might want to have already taken care of those plants. If you want to hang on to them, cover them with cloth, plastic, newspaper, straw, or evergreen boughs. Boxes, inverted pails, or clay pots, or any other heavy hollow object can also be used, but be sure to take them off by the time the temperature rises above freezing tomorrow morning. You don't want to keep them there. Windy conditions today, 47 degrees. That was what we topped out to the north in St. Charles, 46 in Rolla. It was 48 in the Belleville area. Mostly cloudy skies, and the sun started to pop out late this afternoon, this evening as the sunset. Beautiful sunset there. At 7 minutes past 6 o'clock, we continue to get shorter daylight hours, longer nights, and that continues to bring out more fall color, too. Some rain, and this is actually some lake effect rain and snow mixing in with that all the way down to the Indianapolis area. At least we were out of that range today. Big, deep, low pressure center is the cause of it. We're still getting that flow around that ridge of high pressure. And, oh, nasty weather for the World Series tonight in Philadelphia. Rain, cold temperatures. Rennie will have the details on that for you. And that trough of low pressure will move to the east, so we get in on the ridge, and that means a nice warm up for us here in the St. Louis area. 47 degrees is our high today, so the coldest of air right in that trough of low pressure. In the meantime, out west where there's a ridge of high pressure, temperatures were nice and warm. It will start to warm up eventually by the middle part of the week. So this is our modeling. High pressure scoots off to the south, and we're going to stay clear tomorrow, clear for the next few days. No frontal systems moving in, so dry conditions and warmer air as we get on the backside of that high. So certainly we have a lot of good news after we freeze tonight. So 57 tomorrow in Kansas City, 50 in St. Louis. We should have a mostly sunny day coming up on your Tuesday. Northwesterly winds, so that's going to die down tonight, and our temperatures in some spots, Jefferson City already 39 degrees. So where we're starting to see some clearing, that's what's bringing that cold air in. Currently now at Lambert, we've got mostly cloudy skies, 42 degrees downtown. It's 40. The dew point is 20, and the pressure is rising. Northwesterly winds at 13. High today was 47. Low so far has been 36 degrees. Certainly no precipitation today. Here's your forecast for the rest of tonight. Clearing skies, and it is going to be cold. The coldest night of the season so far for the areas that clear out. 32 in the city. It'll be in the mid to upper 20s around St. Louis, so that will end the growing season. Tomorrow, sunny skies, but chilly with a high of only 50 degrees. And here is your extended forecast for the next 7. Again, a look at that for Halloween. A lot of kids will be out by Friday night, and I think the temperatures and the weather is going to be quite nice. 64 on Saturday. Another nice weekend, by the way, and Monday, 62.
All right, Cindy, thanks. You know, we've had to report on a lot of bad news lately, but we have something to lift your spirits. This Friday night, it's all about positive news. You're invited to join me for a 30-minute primetime special where you'll meet some of the most amazing people in the St. Louis area. And we'll take you to what may be the happiest place in the entire region. Join me for Making a Difference, Friday night at 7, right here on News Channel 5.
You do such a great job with that.
It'll be fun.
Gary Pinkel has had a lot of success as the head football coach at Mizzou.
But would he be willing to go back to the place where his career started?
I hope not. I hope not. I mean, this program is just starting to become a national power at this point. Stay there, ride the wave. Up next is sports. Find out why the University of Washington may give Coach Pinkel a call. Plus, Rams head coach Jim Haslett is defending his #1 quarterback. And can you recognize these Rams players? Find out who they are and why they were out of uniform tonight. Rams head coach Jim Haslett believes running back Steven Jackson will be a go for Sunday against Arizona. However, they could be without their sack leader, defensive end Leonard Little. He has a strained hamstring. They'll monitor him in practice. Besides, from the medical updates, the coach defended quarterback Mark Bolger today. Bolger threw for 301 yards and a touchdown yesterday at New England, but he completed only 18 of 34 passes and tossed a costly interception on their last drive of the game. Yet, according to Coach Haslett, the missed plays were not all Bolger's fault.
I thought Mark played okay. He didn't have a lot of time. It was hard to step up at times. Mark will be fine. You know, he's got a young group of receivers out there. They're kind of learning each other. We missed a couple hots. You know, we did some things that if we had veterans probably in there that have been together for a while, that probably wouldn't have happened. And, you know, we got ourselves in situations where we're stirring along too many times against that team.
Rams first-round draft pick Chris Long had a breakout game against New England. He had 4 tackles, including 2 sacks and 2 quarterback hurries. Long's 4 sacks of the season are tops among NFL rookies. He felt like he won some battles against the Patriots.
You just got to keep chipping away. Matt Light's one of the best tackles I've faced, hands down. And you know, I just had to, you know, just keep chipping away. And the good thing about a D lineman is that you can win once or twice.
As if trying to become the first World Series team in 22 years to come back from a 3-1 deficit isn't hard enough. The Rays, who play in a dome, are also up against the elements in Philadelphia. It's raining, windy, and about 40 degrees tonight. Right now, Game 5 is delayed in the 6th inning. They're tied at 2. A win and the Phillies win the championship. There's an opening at the University of Washington, and it could have an impact on Mizzou. Tyrone Willingham will be fired as the Huskies' head football coach. Mizzou head football coach Gary Pinkel is already being rumored as a possible replacement. He was an assistant at Washington from 1979 to 1990. Pinkel didn't want to talk about it.
No, I'm not gonna. You know, that to me that's just a distraction. You know, I'm gonna focus on this football game, and that's all I'm gonna do.
The Mizzou defense, which has been an issue, played its best game of the year over the weekend. The Tigers posted their first shutout in 4 years. They held Colorado to 199 total yards of offense in the 58-zip win. Mizzou simplified the defensive scheme, and it worked.
We're going to try to do the same thing this week, and if we want to, you know, we want to play our best. And I didn't ask the players to go out and win. I didn't ask them to do that. I asked them to go out and play hard with a great effort, and all the other stuff takes care of itself.
The Blues will have at least one of their top goalies back between the pipes. Backup Chris Mason returned to practice today. He expects to start on Thursday against Carolina. Mason had been out for the past 2 weeks after undergoing an emergency appendectomy. Mason has appeared in just 1 game so far this season. He made 29 saves against the Islanders, but he took a loss. He's looking forward to getting back into the game.
And today, you know, the first couple drills, just get my timing back, and you know, I felt really good after that. And it's, you know, just doing everything I was doing before. So it's that's a definitely good step in the right direction.
The Blues had yesterday off, which gave the players a chance to get into the Halloween spirit. Defenseman Barrett Jackman showed us his piñata costume he wore to their party. Rookies T.J. Oshie and Patrick Berglund plan to go as a couple.
I was thinking about going as Tiger Woods. I was recently informed that I should be wearing a knee brace as well, but I don't have one, so I'm going to go as Tiger Woods, and then Bergie here obviously would be going as my Swedish wife.
All right, I guess that works. The Rams are playing dress up tonight in downtown St. Louis. They joined tight end Randy McMichael for a celebrity bowling tournament. Kicker Josh Brown arrived as Pee Wee Herman. Wide receiver Drew Bennett as Slash. Linebacker Will Witherspoon came as Seal, and McMichael donned a gladiator look.
I just wondered when I saw it down at the costume store down at Fort Lauderdale, I was like, I got to have it, man. Matter of fact, I watched 300 the night before, so I was like, I don't want to come dressed like him, but I'm going to put like a Jerry Curl 80s theme to it.
It's working. It's working. Reminds me a lot of Rick James.
I remember him. Thanks, Rennie.
Well, they say everything's bigger in Texas.
But this may be getting out of hand. Stay with us.
You're a Rick James fan, huh? When you think about the beach, Dallas may not be your first destination.
No, but the city tried to steal some of the spotlight this weekend in a big way. A giant beach ball went bouncing down the streets of downtown Dallas yesterday. Experts at the Guinness Book of World Records say it stands 35 feet tall or 3 stories, making it the biggest beach ball in the world. The ball was part of a promotion for a cruise ship. I wonder how long it took to deflate the beach ball. There you have it. News Channel 5 at 10. Thanks for watching.
Remember to start your day with Today in St. Louis beginning at 5 tomorrow morning. And tonight we salute the youngsters at Illini Elementary. That's in Fairview Heights.
The Tonight Show with Jay Leno is next. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.
On air, online, in the palm of your hand. St. Louis's news leader. To be part of the networks of News Channel 5, email your news or story ideas to newstips@ksdk.com.
It's bigger.